What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tell. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast. Sorry, I was running a minute late messing around with headphone cables. It's time for me to get a new set of headphones, I think. And so I was just playing with that, so I didn't get a chance to open my fizzy water. And that is not it's not a metaphor or euphemism for beer. It's actually fizzy water. Welcome everybody to the Just Gonna Say It podcast. It is Tuesday afternoon. It is 4:00, and I thought we would do the "There's no such thing as a stupid question" episode, and we're going to theme this one questions that I will not answer, because we're going to put some of these things in here that I'm just going to tell you that I'm never going to talk about on this channel as we go. It's what's in the can? It's Spindrift Lime Carbonated Water. It's kind of a go-to for me. I drink a lot of carbonated water. I really like it. So, yeah. Very cool. For those of you that are thinking I was actually drinking a beer, sorry, it's not a beer. Before we get started on all of our subjects today, I want to tell you about a couple of things. One is this is an ad-free podcast as we are live. We do all of our live streams ad-free now. So, hang on.
All right, there we go. That probably sounds a little better. I had the wrong input. Okay, so we are doing things a little differently around here lately. We're doing all these things ad-free. So if you want to keep them ad-free and support the channel, you can do that by using Super Chat, little super stickers, stuff like that. If you watch it later, you can use the little super thanks thing. Or you can just, buy some merch or buy some pickups or whatever. So I appreciate y'all. And even if you don't want to do any of that stuff, just watch and listen and, create some views, and that helps too. So it doesn't even have to cost you anything. So thank you so much, everybody, for being around for all of this. Couple new things. We've got some new stuff on the website. We've got some new parts, pickup kits. We talked about that Monday in our video. We've got a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I think you'll dig it. We are putting some new stuff in the pickup vault. I think we're going to change the name of that thing. I'm working on a new name for that because I want to have it kind of include this room. So I have this idea. So I'll get back to you on that. But anyway, so that's cool. If you have questions for me today, put them in the comments with a chat with a bunch of question marks in front of them. So that I can grab them, or use a super chat. I'll drop what I'm doing and answer that one right away as we discuss our subject. One more thing I wanted to mention to you is, besides putting a bunch of question marks in front of your question so I can actually see it, pay attention, do it properly, is we have a weekly update email going out. It's probably going to be on Fridays or Saturdays. I hate getting junk mail. Okay. I hate company junk mail. However, there are a few companies that I always open their email because I'm interested in what they're actually doing. Montana Knife Company sends me an email every Thursday about their knife drops. Half Face Blades sends me one every Thursday. Saturday. I do read the Sweetwater one. When that comes out, I read Stringjoy has a pretty good one. So we're doing a newsletter every week. You can go to the bottom of the website and you can you can get on the newsletter, and we're going to have some other fun ways to get on the newsletter. But here's what it is. Here's what it's going to be. It's literally going to be very short. And all it's going to be is like, this is the video this week in case you missed it. This is something that we're featuring on the website. And this is probably what's coming up next week. That's it. We're not doing any kind of spammy stuff. We're not doing any kind of anything. I just want people to know in case they missed stuff that's what's going on. So please do me a favor and sign up for the newsletter. If you are not, or you don't know how or whatever, we'll come up with some cool ways. We'll probably do some giveaways and stuff like that. So anyway, I hate junk mail. So it was like, what are the kind of emails that I like to read? So you know what I mean? Like, if I'm not going to do it, you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? So, and if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. And I'm not going to push it a lot. I just want to tell people about it. So there you go. Let's see. So let's, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the two main things that I'll never talk about on this channel and questions I will never answer. And then we are going to talk about we're going to take the, there's no such thing as a stupid question from some comments over the last few weeks, and we're going to throw those up on the screen and we're going to talk about them. So number one, religion. I'm not going to talk about religion on this channel. I'm not going to answer questions about it. I'm not going to answer any assumptions that people make about my beliefs on this channel. I'm just not going to do it. I don't feel it's the right place for it. It's not the right forum. It's not the right, it's just not the right thing. It's just that's just pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy. Politics. This is a different one. This is a harder one. I don't like talking about politics on the channel. Here's the problem. Some stuff does kind of involve governmental regulations. It involves, various things. Let's talk about like importing and exporting of wood into various countries. The economic concepts of, the way they do stuff in China versus the way they do stuff in the United States, right? So it kind of like, I don't want to talk about politics for the sake of talking about politics, right? I don't care who you vote for, who you support. You shouldn't care who I do. I don't think that that's a thing. Like I've never felt like that was a thing. However, sometimes it does come into the conversation in a peripheral way. So if you ask a question in the comments about, what do you think about such and such a thing? A lot of times I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to go down that road. I don't want what you believe about something to affect how I feel about you. You're my friend. We talk about guitar stuff, right? That's what we do. Also, the other thing it comes up with a lot of times is because a lot of people make assumptions about me based on my interests. And I will tell you that every person who has ever made an assumption about what I think about this stuff has been wrong. That's all I'm going to say about it. Okay. So you could make an assumption about me based on, what's on the wall behind me, what's, what I'm into, my other, whatever, but let me just say, I like firearms and I like electric cars. So, whatever assumption you make is wrong, 100%. And here's the thing about it. It's none of your business. And yours is none of my business. I don't care. I don't let that get into whether I'm interested in something. We'll get into this later because it was one of the questions, but, we'll just get into that later. Yeah. So I don't care about your affiliations. I don't want to discuss them. I don't care about that stuff. I just like people. I think people are cool. I am not a cynical person. I don't think that every person in the world is the bad guy. I don't think that all of the guitar companies are out to get me. I'm not that kind of person. We're all trying to make money. We're all trying to make a living. We're all trying to get through life, and we're all human beings. So you can think what you want. You can be different than me. I'll be different than you. I have no problem with that. I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely awesome. And it looks like we have a super chat. Thank you so much for the ad-free boost. Thank you very much, Ivan. Yeah, so those are the two main ones. So we will, we're going to get into some other ones as we go through some of these questions today. Let's take some of your questions that are in the let's see here. I just ordered a new guitar. What pickups should I put in it? I don't know. It depends on what guitar that is and what the hole looks like. I can pick my friends and my nose, but not my friend's nose. I can pick my guitar, but it doesn't have a nose. Can I pick my nose with my guitar? If it's like a Jackson with a really pointy peg head, sure. Is there a way to rewind those 1/4 inch thick harmony Teisco to achieve better volume, or is there an alternative pickup that won't require routes? So that's a tough question to answer because there's so many of them. And they're very difficult to rewind. A lot of those actually have paper bobbins. I have done them in the past. I'm not going to do it. Don't ask me. I won't do it. Let's see. Jose says, Dylan, do you know if Mont Blanc pens can be fixed? My mom saw me playing with my fountain pen and gave me a ballpoint, and it has it's broken in. Yeah, you can. People will service those. It's not necessarily the cheapest thing in the world sometimes, but you can service those. So yeah. Let's see. All right. Let me just go through and make sure we haven't missed anything. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get through some of these questions that came up over the last few months. Number 1, you lost a viewer. I can't stand seeing guns. Okay, so this is one of those things. There's a couple of ways to handle that. One, you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, and you don't have to see them. No problem. The problem with that, though, is that a lot of people's like, once I know a thing about a person. So here's the thing. You probably do stuff that I don't like, but I still like you. I think you're cool. So, there is that. So just, be cool, man. Like, you don't have to like what I like. It's totally fine. Here's another. You are standing in front of an assault rifle wall. This is about pickups. What are you thinking? First of all, I don't own any of those. Just to be clear, you should do some research before you make blanket statements about stuff on the internet, obviously. So do some research about that. Those are, in the strictest form of the term, select fire is illegal in the United States. So I don't own any of them. I do have some competition sporting rifles back here that I do use. But so anyway, those are a couple of things. This is what I'm saying. I want to address it today, but we're just not going to talk about it. It's one of those things that if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's totally fine. I dig it. I understand. Okay, the wood matters if you can knock on the guitar's wood and hear it through your amp. Okay. I thought we were pretty good on this one. When you knock on a guitar, you move the strings move in the magnetic field of the pickup. The strings become magnetized, and therefore they make sound. If you knock on a guitar without strings on it, it will make a lot less noise. However, it will still make noise because the parts in the pickup move. Okay? So that is kind of an irrelevant thing, to be fair. Let's see. We got another one here. Hang on. Let me clean this up a little bit so I can keep track of where I'm at. I'm trying to do a better job. Let's see. What about something that can be magnetic to make them louder? Those pickups, those old harmony pickups just kind of are what they are, to be honest with you. I wouldn't spend a whole bunch of time on them. You could probably find a replacement one for cheaper. I know that you can find a replacement one for cheaper than it would be to mess with it. Okay. That is definitely true. All right. Let me see where we're at here. Okay. Epiphone Les Paul versus Gibson Les Paul. What's the real difference? I love how people think just because something has a certain name that it is already better. Gibson is not what they used to be, and I have heard some Epis that sound better than some Gibsons. The name doesn't mean it is auto better. Okay, I want you to notice something about this title of this video, okay? Epiphone Les Paul versus Gibson Les Paul. What is the real difference? Okay. It doesn't say better or worse. It says the real difference. And so what we did with that video was we actually discussed the technical differences in the construction of the instrument. Better, this leads me to my next thing that I'm not going to talk about. Better, if you say which guitar is better, I'm going to tell you what the differences are, and you have to decide whether you think it's better. Okay? I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to answer those questions anymore. I will answer them, but I'm not going to tell you what's better because you might not like what I like. You just might not. And I don't want to, it's honestly, I don't want to send you down the wrong road because I don't know what you're into totally, right? It's hard to do this through the internet sometimes. So, some of my good friends who I talk to all the time, I can give them recommendations because I know them, right? Like, yeah, I know you don't like purple and you don't like stuff that's shiny and you don't like, okay, I know 4 or 5 things about you. Now I can help you, right? But it's really hard to, I'm not saying I know how much money you make, but I know you like nice stuff. So I'm gonna recommend you get a Gibson or whatever. It doesn't matter. Therefore, what I will do is give you the facts about an object, and then you can make the decision. That is what we do. Devil-Eyed Elvis, thank you so much for the super chat. Time to do an aluminum guitar video and shut down Tonewood again. That's really funny. I like aluminum guitars. I think they're really, really neat. I have played them. I've played some bad ones, but I've also played some really good ones. Oops, hang on. Let's see. I'm trying to get better at doing this by myself. All right, this one I forgot to I forgot to crop it down, but the one in the middle. You sure do like Texas Toast guitars. Do they care about what materials they use? Are Texas Toast guitars made from plywood or plastic? The reason I put this one in here is because the dude was really intent on trying to prove that the guitar was more expensive or less expensive because of the tone wood, meaning that they believe in tone wood, blah, blah, blah. Some wood is more expensive than others. And I think it's really hard for someone who does not work in the manufacturing space to understand all the time how cost of goods scale to a manufactured retail price. So if a body blank costs a company $40 and then another body blank costs the same company $60, the guitar's not going to be $20 more. Okay. It's going to be like $100 more. So it's just the way business works. It's the way all that stuff works. There's a lot to it. And unless you're really into understanding how that works, it's hard to explain. However, it is how life works. It's how everything works. It's how, if you buy a pencil, okay? If you buy a pencil for 69 cents or $1, let's say $1, then that pencil probably had to be made for about 15 or 20 cents. And if they use a more expensive material and it goes up to 25 cents, then the pencil is going to cost $1, like $1.25 or $1.40. Okay. It's just kind of how it works. That's the thing. That's how life is. So, it's when you look at a Texas Toast guitar for $1,300 and then the next one is 17 or 18. Well, what's involved there? More finishing time, more materials, different woods, all that kind of stuff. A lot of time and a lot of material. The guitar has to be more expensive. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to like, well, it has fancy tone wood in it now, so now it's going to be, it's literally like, look, man, if you want it to look fancier, we're going to get fancier wood and it's going to feel different and we're going to finish it different, whatever. It's going to be more expensive. So the way things scale is really super important. I think that's really the key. So understanding that. So anytime anybody asks about those kind of things, just know that you got to look at the business side of it. I know people hate that because we're talking about guitars and passion and, music and all that stuff. But business is business. You have to make money when you do something. Oh, I guess I forgot to. Oh, I guess I did do it, and then I didn't scale it down. Okay, whatever. All right. So this is talking about that thing that I love, the little digital gauge. And people seem to be very intent on trying to tell me that very important to note that it's best to use this thing by pressing the plunger in the playing position. Same orientation you'd normally check the nut height slot with feeler gauges. The neck rests to manipulate the measurement by flexing the neck. Also, the strings sit lower when the guitar is on its back. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. When we talk about guitar setup, we do say this. As many measurements as possible, do them in the playing position. He is right. When you put a guitar on a neck rest, you can bend the guitar. At the nut, it's not going to make that much difference because the leverage of that down here, when you're measuring it at the first fret like that or the third fret like that, it's okay, whatever. When you're doing it at the 12th or 17th fret, though, depending on where you measure your string height, that can happen. Here's the thing. Your string height is typically what, 60 thousandths to start with? Or what is that, 3.5, 4 millimeters, something like that for you metric folks. The difference from playing position to laying flat, as long as you're not like pushing on the guitar, could be a couple of a thousandths of an inch. So it could be like, it could vary from 58 thousandths to 60 thousandths or 59 thousandths to 60 thousandths. Okay, so we're not talking about any major thing here. So don't stress about it as long as the guitar plays good. And as long as you do everything the same all the way across the guitar, you're not going to notice probably a couple thousandths of an inch. And when I say a couple thousandths, I literally mean 2 or 3. I don't mean 10, because 10 you're going to notice. Definitely. Hang on. I guess I forgot to delete that. All right. Thanks, Captain Obvious. I just thought that was funny. All right. This is my take on the Jim Lil video. This was really funny. This was hilarious. I just thought this was funny, so I wanted to share it. What are you talking about? No tone wood. There's 50 pounds of tone wood in the air guitar. Are you daft? Must be from the other side of the pond because nobody says that over here. What do you think these tables are made from? The fact that the neck has a ridiculously high action, the 2x4 behind him holding the tables apart, and the tables themselves are the body does not mean that there is no tone wood in this rig. Okay, I'll give you that. The only thing I would add to that is it seems that you forgot the tone engines, because there was 2 tone engines too. So, you got to throw that in the mix there as well. Just if we're being thorough, and I understand your need to be thorough. So if we're being thorough. Let's see. Okay, this is really small, and I cannot read it from here. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the Epiphone Les Paul thing. The real difference is where they are made. Are you 100% sure that an American worker is 4 times better than a Mexican, Indonesian, or even Chinese? Handcrafted, made with routers, and then the tone wood topic. We are all dealing with electric guitars, blah, 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 blah. So I guess here's the thing with this. Again, read the title, okay? It's not about what the guitar is worth. It's about the difference between the two, okay? So it wasn't about tone wood. It was about this wood comes from this country. That makes it cost this much. This wood comes from this country, and they don't have to ship it as far, and it costs this much. This wood is not actually mahogany. It is a different kind of wood. I don't care what it makes the guitar sound like. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just telling you that this piece of wood is $20 and this piece of wood is $70. Makes a difference in the cost. It doesn't matter what it makes the guitar sound like at this point. You can feel how you want to feel about that. It's not about tone wood. As far as how much a worker is worth, you got to be real careful with that. It's human beings. And that's one of the problems that can arise when we're talking about, and so this is the thing, we like skirt around this politics thing, right? Different countries treat labor practices differently. And so it's a human being is worth the same. We are all human beings. The question is, does that human being's boss think he's worth it? And do you want to support that? Right? That's the key. I mean, human beings are all worth a lot, right? So that's super important. A human hair is 3 to 4 thousandths. Yeah, you can actually feel half a human hair when you like going like this. I just did some research on this. So on a smooth surface, a perfectly smooth surface, which isn't actually possible, a human being could actually feel the irregularity of a red blood cell. That's how far down, I forget, 50 nanometers or 1 micron. When it comes to a human hair, we can feel the difference. Like if we go like this and between our fingers, we can feel about half of a human hair. So it's about, it's very, very small. However, there's also then, and you understand how the motion and the action that you're using changes how sensitive it is. So if it was a perfectly smooth surface and you touched it, you could feel the red blood cell. But if you put something in between your fingers like this, you can't feel the red blood cell. It has to be thicker. Now, take the difference with no reference point out of midair, which is what you're doing with a guitar string. So you take a guitar string that's suspended between 2 points and you move it a couple of thousandths of an inch, and you will be able to perceive less difference. Okay. So our perception is based on the application of what we're doing. So we can feel something on a surface versus between our fingers versus suspended in midair. It's like, it's like trying to pick something out of the air, or like trying to, it's harder to perceive that. So, yes, great point, Dave. And thank you for bringing that out, because that is, an excellent way to kind of visualize that. Okay, apparently in my video where I drew a really good diagram and explained very simply how to do this, it was a fail. Show us the completed wired pickup. I mean, it's a pickup. Looks like a pickup. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Show us the wires. Do you know what a wire looks like? Show us the internal diffs between a single coil, double coil, in phase and out of phase. Look in the title of the video and tell me where that is. Show us the wiring of a humbucket. Dude, I really should do a humbucket schematic. How about sound samples of each of the above? Well, since I don't know what a humbucket is, I don't know how to give you a sound sample of that. That would be really, really tough. I have an Alvarez baritone guitar that costs around $600 a few years ago. That has the original bridge has a cracked bridge. It costs about $150 to fix. Would you fix it or junk it? It depends how connected you are to the guitar. If your dad gave it to you, I'll give you an example. I have a $300 Sigma it was $300 when it was new in 1979. So I don't know what it'd be now. But my grandfather gave it to me and my dad gave it to him. So it was like this weird backwards, forwards generational thing. It's one of the first guitars that we had in our guitar store, because we had a Martin store when I was young. And it was like one of the first guitars from the first shipment of the guitars that we got from Martin. So it's like very sentimental to me. That bridge cracked from end to end through the pins, and I paid a lot of money to get it fixed because I wanted it to be, I don't play it, I don't gig it or anything. Maybe we'll do a video about it, but it meant a lot to me. So therefore I fixed it. It's at the point now where it kind of can't be fixed. I guess that's what I'm saying. If it's worth it to you to do it, then it's worth it to you. Again, this is a question I cannot answer. If it's worth it to you, then I think you should do it. Do not regret not doing it. If you feel like you're going to regret not doing it, then you definitely need to. That's probably the more important question. That is what I would say. I just subscribed to your channel today, and now I'll unsubscribe. You invite people to comment and then ignore them all. Not my vibe. See ya. Why do people announce that they're leaving? That's always so funny to me. And how do you feel now? Because we like totally featured you and stuff, man. You know, we have like 1,500 videos. I can't reply to everybody. I do read almost everything. Or at least scan it for the first 24 hours of each video going up so I can get a vibe of how the video is received. But there's no way I can keep up with them all. Physically, it is impossible. I would literally have to spend as much time as you do on social media in order to keep up with that stuff. And I can't because I'm making pickups for you. So, you know, we're doing other stuff. We got other stuff going. And I got a family. What is the difference between a microphone and a guitar pickup? What does this mean for how a guitar, being a hollow body or a semi-hollow body, impacts the tone? So, when you make a guitar hollow, it still is an electric guitar. However, more of the guitar is moving than a solid body guitar. But to tell you the honest truth, it kind of depends on where the pickups are mounted, right? Like if it has a center block and the thing's moving around a bunch, it's going to be different. You're not going to notice it so much except for you're going to have more motion in the guitar. So it's going to be easier to feed back. You know? Yeah. Is Gibson Les Paul worth the money in 2023? All the way through this video, it felt like you were trying to justify your purchase. It just feels like you disagreed with me. I like my guitar. But, you know, I don't know why anybody thinks that they have to justify something. I don't have to justify it to you. It's mine. Why do I have to justify it to you? Why would I have to justify it to you? And conversely, why would you have to justify anything to me? It's yours. I don't know. It's just a weird way to think. You know, if you like something, I want to know why you like it. That's the real thing. I want to know why you like it. Tell me why you like a thing. Don't tell me why you don't like my thing. Tell me why you like your thing. And if I've never heard of it, or if I didn't like it before, you may influence me to like your thing. Instead of me just thinking you're a moron because you just tell everybody how much you hate stuff. So, tell people how much you like stuff. That's what you should do. No woodchuck questions. That's right. That's funny. Try an experiment with the stop tailpiece in different positions. I'd be curious to know if there really is a difference. Why don't you do that? If you have a Les Paul and a screwdriver, you possess the technology to do that experiment. This is one of those things where I'm not saying I won't answer the question, but I'm going to put it back on you to answer the question for yourself, okay? If it is an experiment that's super easy to do, yeah, maybe we will do the video, right? Like maybe we will, because that's what we do here. But on something like that, where I will not be able to convey to you properly, because it's a feeling thing, how much difference you feel when you raise or lower your tailpiece, then you need to do that experiment yourself. And I'm talking to the general all of us, right? When there is something that's so relative tonally or feel-wise, it's something that you need to try for yourself. In fact, the purpose of the video when I do those videos is not going to be to tell you what to do or like tell you what to believe on something. It's going pretty much to be like, here's why you should try this for yourself, because I can't really explain it to you, but it's kind of neat to try it, which this falls under that category. So I think that this is one of those things where it's relative. You might think it makes a huge difference. No matter what I said in a video, half of the people would be like, I could totally tell a difference, bro. And the other people are like, you can't, you're wrong, blah, 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 right? So instead of making enemies and telling people what you don't like, experiment, do the experiment and put it in the comments and let us know. Because I think that these are the things that how we become individuals when we play guitar. If everybody just watches a YouTube video or watches or hangs out in guitar forums, this is a problem. This is a problem in guitar land. If everybody hangs out, it's a problem in a lot of lands, actually. I see it in the firearm industry too. People will imagine a problem, okay? And they will be like, well, that thing has a problem. In fact, I think there's one that's coming up. In fact, let's just leave that for now. So we'll get back to that. As of today, this guitar is $699 and the McPherson is $36.99. Yeah, so Enya had to lower their price because their guitar is crap, and McPherson raised theirs because it got more expensive. Holy crap, this is tiny. What the heck was I thinking? That's another comment about how Enya is just as good as blah, blah, blah. Okay, we don't care about that. Does the bobbin material have an influence on the sound? I've seen people use wood. Did it sound good when it was wood? Do you like it? When somebody says, this is another question I don't like to answer. When somebody says, does that make a difference in the tone? Like, I mean, what are you expecting? What difference are you expecting? Okay. And what we're doing here today is not to be critical of anyone. I just want people to think about it so that you take these experiments on yourself. And why do you ask a question like this? Okay. Because you want a definite answer and there isn't one. Does it make a difference in the tone? Maybe. It depends on the material. If it's brass, if it's copper, if it's a non-ferrous material, no. But at the same time, somebody's going to say something different, even though they're wrong. It's science. But what difference are you looking for is the more important thing. Because a lot of people will say, I want to do this thing because it makes a difference in the tone. Well, what difference are you trying to make? If here's the needle where your tone is now. If you make a difference in the tone, it's going to go this way or it's going to go this way. So making a difference in the tone doesn't really matter if it goes this way or this way, if that's not the goal of what you're trying to do. So a lot of people will be like, well, that makes a difference in the tone. What? Can you quantify it? Can you quantify it? That's super important. Let's see. Nobody talks about the picks. Let's talk about picks, baby. Yeah, so the big problem in guitar land is, here's what will happen. It happens in everything, in firearms too, where it's like, there's a perceived problem. I think I missed the comment that I must have not done it right or something. Anyways, it was, does the G string come out of tune on this SG that I had? No, it doesn't. But if I say no, it doesn't, then somebody else in the comments is going to be like, everyone does. All of them do. All the peg heads break off on Gibsons. All the G strings come out of tune. What else happens? There's all kinds of, not just Gibson stuff. I'm talking about across the board, right? Because you spent more time in a forum learning from what other people are doing than actually doing the experiment yourself. So that whole groupthink concept is something that I think is stupid. So there you go. So don't do that. Do your own experiments. Yeah. Will a set of Callahan string ferrules stainless steel fit into a Squire Classic vibe? I don't know, because there are a couple of diameters difference. And if you, I don't know why you're buying Callahan ones unless you want them to be like super bougie. You could buy, I don't know why you're replacing them. Why are you replacing string ferrules on a Squire Telly? Because if you think that's going to make some kind of like difference in the tone, you are wasting some dough. Holy smokes, you're wasting some dough. Don't even mess with that. I mean, unless you want to. If you want it to be bougie, make it bougie. I don't care. That's cool. But again, somebody told somebody that this is going to make a difference, and so they spent a bunch of money on some string ferrules for their Squire Telly and want to know if it fits or whatever. And for what return? What is the return? You know, you put new pickups in a guitar, and obviously you can make the thing sound totally different, right? You polish the frets. It looks and feels different. You change string gauges. You change pots from 250s to 500s. You get rid of cheap pots that have really bad, tapers, and your guitar becomes more usable. You put a different capacitor in there, and all of a sudden the baseline tone for the thing completely changes. Those are all really quantifiable. Like, it's super easy, right, to tell that stuff. Once you get into the minutia of these wacky, like, this is a higher mass piece of aluminum than this, I'm like, dude, like, really? What? Why? Unless you want to. It's cool. I mean, I got a buddy. Me and him rode dirt bikes for years and years together, and he would always put titanium shock bolts in all of his dirt bikes. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever, dude. It's like $90 for these 2 titanium shock bolts. And I'm like poop or something. You'll lose more weight. Like, come on, man. But he liked it. He thought it was cool. He had all the little titanium bits and bobs, and they were anodized different colors and stuff and whatever. So it was totally fine. So, you know, that it doesn't matter. I'm not telling you not to put bougie parts on your guitar. I mean, look around me. I got all kind of bougie stuff. But just know why you're doing it. Just know why you're doing it. I think I keep wanting to do a video about this, but I think that none of this is about tone. The only things that are about tone in an electric guitar are the pickups, the pots, and the caps, and the strings and the setup, the mechanical setup of the guitar. That is my opinion. And here's why I think that. Well, let me say this instead. Then what about all the other stuff? I think that it's what makes it cool. It's cool factor. Everything beyond that is cool factor. In fact, that stuff's cool too. Like, cool pickups are cool. But they do make a big difference. But everything beyond that just makes the guitar cool. As long as you know that, then make your guitar cool. Don't worry about the mass of a Callahan bridge or whatever. Just, it's cool. And it's okay. It's totally okay. Let's see. Thank you for your answer. I don't know. Let's see. I'm just saving up for my next Dylan pickup. That's cool. That's what I would do. Yep. All this is just fun, right? It's just fun. Well, there you go, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. These are fun. These are fun to do. I like to do them every once in a while where we have random questions coming in over the last couple months. And, you know, let's see, I want to make sure that I got all of the super chats. Yep. And didn't miss anything. So go to the website, check out Dylan Talks Tone, buy some stuff. We got some cool stuff going. I got a cool pickup design that I'm working on right now that people requested. People been requesting it. So, you know, too many things. Try having solutions to problems that do not exist. That, my friend, is probably the majority of it. In the dirt bike business, we used to talk about the 90-10-5 rule. I've talked about this on the channel many times. 90% of the money spent in the hobby is to get the last 10% out of a product, performance-wise, that only 5% of people will ever actually feel. So the majority of the money that is spent is just because stuff is cool. If guitar players would just allow themselves to like stuff because it's cool, the world would be a better place. Why did you buy that Les Paul? Because it's cool. Well, I could get an Epiphone. I don't care. I like this guitar. It's cool. I play these strings because they're cool. I like them. You know, I use, this is why we started carrying paper and oil caps on the website. I realized that, and it started making pickups that I don't like, you know, because I was doing stuff. We didn't have paper and oil caps on the website because I thought they were dumb. I think they're a waste of money, but they sure look cool and people think they're cool. So I'm like keeping you from being cool. So like now we have paper and oil caps so you can be cool if you think it's cool. Right? Like, why would I tell you you can't be cool? Doesn't make sense. Let's see. The Bronco bass I just got has a 6-pole pickup. Would winding a 4-pole pickup make that much of a difference? I don't know. It depends on the string spacing. That is a good question. Oh, yeah. Make sure you subscribe. We're really close. Will you ever get another Explorer, or did the Epi scratch the itch? I might get another Explorer. I sold that guitar so I could go to Blade Show last year. So, yeah, it was cool. But, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like what I have right now. So, yeah, awesome. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for hanging out. And I guess we will see you in our next video.